Assalamu alaikum. Student, today we are going to learn 7th standard chapter number 6, measurement of physical quantities. In this chapter we are going to learn about different types of physical quantities in our day-to-day life. When we go to market, we buy different food articles such as fruits, vegetables, food grain, etc. While buying these food substances, we measure their weight. Okay, so weight is a physical quantity. We also measure other physical quantity such as temperature. Whenever we have fever, we measure our body temperature. We also measure temperature of a liquid substances while preparing food. We measure volume of liquid substances. We boil maybe 2 or 3 cup of water. We take a glass of a juice every day. Maybe we buy 1 or 2 liter cold drink bottle from outside or from market. So in that case, what we are doing, actually we are measuring volume of that liquid substances. We also measure density of substances, which define whether the object will float or object will sink in a liquid substances. All these are what? All these are different quantity we use to measure in our daily life. These quantity what we use to measure in our daily life are known as the physical quantities, such as mass, weight of a substance, volume of substance, distance covered by any object, and speed of object. So these all are the different physical quantities. To define or to express any physical quantity, we need to measure a magnitude. The magnitude of a substance is defined with the help of two things. One is a value and a unit. Let's take example. Sarita walk 2 kilometers every day. So she is doing what? She is covering certain distance. How much distance she is covering in a day? 2 kilometer distance. So what we are measuring here? We are measuring distance covered by Sarita. And two things are important here. One is 2. 2 is what? Value. Okay, value, how much distance she is covering, and another thing is what? Unit. So this value and unit express magnitude of any physical quantity. A value and a unit are used to express magnitude of physical quantity. Here 2 is the value and kilometer is the unit, and the measuring quantity, which quantity we are measuring here? Distance covered by Sarita. Similarly, we can have an example when we have fever. Okay, if we have a high fever, and maybe we used to measure temperature of our body. So temperature of body comes 101 degree Fahrenheit. So 101 is the value and Fahrenheit is the unit what we are using to measure temperature. So that value and unit will define magnitude of any physical quantity. There are two types of quantity. One is the scalar quantity and another one is the vector quantity. Scalar quantity can be completely expressed by magnitude only. Magnitude means what? Only the value and unit is required to express that kind of quantity. But when we comes to vector quantity, in vector quantity along with magnitude, direction has to be defined. It is depend upon the direction. Okay, in which direction that substance or object or force is applied. So vector quantity is based on direction, and scalar quantity can be easily expressed with the help of magnitude. Let's take one simple example to understand scalar and a vector quantity. Here in this example, object is represented by black color, and blue line is representing displacement, that green line is representing distance covered by that object. So here you can see the distance, total distance covered by object is 70 kilometer, and displacement is how much? Only 14 kilometer. Every time, here you can see, every time the displacement is changing from here to here. Wherever that object goes, every time displacement is changing, because displacement is depend on what? Direction. Okay, displacement means a shortest distance between initial and the final position of object. Let's take one simple example to understand displacement and distance. Here we have car, and this car is covering certain distance. Okay, starting point of that car is from point A, and that car covered distance till what? Till point B. So here you can see initially the car is at point A and finally car is on point B. Okay, so the distance covered by this car is represented with this highlighted pathway. So this is what? This is a distance covered by this car. Okay, and what will be the displacement? A shortest distance between initial and a final position. So this dotted line is actually representing displacement of a car. Okay, so displacement of a car is vector quantity and the distance of a car will be a scalar quantity. Similarly, distance, length, breadth, area, scale, mass, temperature, time, work, all these quantities are the scalar quantity, and displacement, force, gravity, acceleration, velocity, these all quantities are the scalar vector quantity. Okay, vector quantity requires direction also. Without direction we can't define the vector quantity, we can't find or measure that vector quantity. Let's take one more example, mass and weight. Here we will compare mass of this object. Okay, this box, cubical box. Here mass of this object, when we consider mass and weight, mass means amount of matter present in that substance. Here in this substance, whatever amount of matter is present, that is known as the mass of this particular box. But weight is not amount of substance present in it. Weight is something else. Weight is actually a gravitational force acting on this mass. So this is a force. Weight is what? Force. Which force we are talking here? Gravitational force. Gravitational force acting on this box is known as the weight of this particular object. Mass is a scalar quantity and weight is a vector quantity. Mass, unit of mass is kilogram and gram, and unit of weight is Newton. Mass we always measure with the help of beam balance, and weight we always measure with the help of spring balance. So in our today's lecture we have discussed about different types of physical quantities and the types of physical quantity.